Hi everyone, thank you for joining me. I'm going to be sharing today with you how I put this poinsettia together, what I use and such. I've been talking about doing this for a while and I decided I'm just going to get it put together. So I'm going to move this aside. I will show you the candy there, everything I use for those, starting with, I'm going to zoom out a little bit, I hope. I use the Heartfelt Creations Sparkling Poinsettia. This is the stamp set, and figure out which way it comes out. I'm not going to take it all the way up, or you can't see with the glare so well. This is the stamp set. There are, let's see, well actually 3 different sizes. We'll be doing the smallest one. And then it's got the centerpieces, which I don't usually use, but they are there. And then there is a die set that comes with it. This is the larger of the 2 sizes. I believe they have shaping molds. I don't know for all of the sizes. Excuse me, I forget there's probably a glare for you guys. Oh, I brought the wrong die set out. This is for the very, very tiny poinsettias, but there is a die set that matches the larger set too. So what I do is, normally I like to emboss my flowers. These are done, I messed up when I put these together because I did a whole bunch of these and then cut them out, but 2 are done with white embossing powder and one has got a pearl. I will just say, this year I tried silver. I've tried gold in the past. Silver and gold are beautiful if you choose to do those. Either one, gorgeous. But then you cut out the dies. You run them through your embossing folder, or die cutting machine. And then all of them, all 3 sizes, they are still connected, excuse my glued hands, right in here. So you do have to cut these out, and I'm going to quick show you what I mean here. Let's see if I can find it. Well, we'll make this work. Not quite the scissors I'm used to using. So anyway, there's a little notch in there, so I'm just kind of following that on this one. Sometimes these little pieces will come out in the middle, sometimes they don't. And you want to make sure that you get that little piece out there, because what you want to end up doing is having your petals all separate. And if you don't cut 100% straight, it doesn't show, believe me. But yeah, so you see this one's connected, and there's a tiny piece you might not be able to see in there. There, I took it out, but you want those all out also. So I'm going to quick cut these other 2 out, and see there, you can see they're all still in there. If they don't come out when you cut them, just poke them out with your scissors. You don't want those in there. Part of the problem that they don't come out on my die cutting machine is my plates are so bad. I have to shim anything I cut and or run it through at least 5 or 6 times minimum. And yes, I have new plates coming, but with shipping being so far behind for everybody, it's just taking a while. So you may have very good luck and those centers might just pop right out for you. I'm sorry, I'm bumping the camera some. I don't mean to. And I have to thank Sharon, who is the Terra 148 here on YouTube. This is how I learned to do these. I do mine maybe a little bit different than she does hers, but that's where I got the basic initial information. I love making flowers, 3D flowers, but they can be time consuming. So, okay, next thing I need to get a piece of paper here. I already have a big enough mess on my work surface. You'll be able to see this in a moment. I'm just pulling out the one that, yeah, this is the pearl one. I'm going to show you how I ink these now. I use 2 different inks. I'm going to do the leaf first because you need 3. 2 for the petals and 1 for the leaf. I use the light color first, and I do use it quite light. It's not going to show a lot, and that's fine. But I just, I'm very dry. This is a brand new sponge dauber, so that's why it's taking a little bit more ink than normal. But I just do it very lightly. I put it down on scratch paper, as you can see, and put it on there. If you wanted, you could take a towel and buff it out so you'd see, I think I could do it with paper. Don't need that. You'd be able to see the veins a lot better. I'm going to take a little piece of paper here and try it. I don't have any paper towels handy. May or may not work, I'm sorry. It does some, but if you used a towel, you'd be able to see more. The embossing would come through that color. Then what I do is I take a dark color of the same color family, like, green of some sort, and I hold my one petal back, and I'm just doing somewhat the edges and in a little bit. I'm not doing all the way the whole thing. I just want it. Okay, if you want it darker, you can make those insides darker and you'll get a lot darker look. But I just, that's how I'm doing my greens. Does not have to be perfect. Flowers in nature aren't perfect. There I got a little bit too much in, but it's all good. You don't see much of the leaves, to be honest, the petals of the leaves. These don't look like too much until they're all done, so just want to let you know. But that is my leaf. Then I come in and I'll do my 2 flowers, and I'm doing those the same way. But this I use 3 colors. Again, all by choice. You don't have to. I'm making mine traditional red, and I'm going to start with a light pink. Now, this will fade some, even though it's kind of dark on here now. And the white would really show. If you buffed it off, you'd see a lot more of the veins. I don't think I could probably do it with this clean sponge dauber too, but I'm just going to let it go. If you've ever stamped and sponged and embossed and stuff, you will understand. Now, these will fade a little bit as they go, so, because this is already starting to fade some. I'm going to leave those 2 out. Then I take quite a much darker color. And the next color I'm using is like a cherry color, and I will do the same thing here. Easier not to have to rotate the flowers if I do it this way. If you want the leaves to be all one color, all you have to do is just use that one color like I did with the first pink, and you'll get them all one color. These to me are the easiest flowers to do. Like I said, I also have the, I call it the miniature set there. Maybe inch, inch and a quarter. Instead, these are about, let's see, these petals, before they're shaped, this is the smallest one, keep in mind, are about 1 3/4 inch wide. And then I come in with my last color, and this is, I'm using Stampin' Up! Colors. This one is retired. It's called Fresh Fig. It just gives it, and I try to do this as much as I can just on the very, very edges. And this will be less of a red and more of a pinkish color. I have done them in red. I've done them all one color. If you just have dies, or if you have poinsettias from like an SVG file, you can do the same thing. Cut them out in white if you wish, and ink them like this. You don't have to have the veins in there. You could cut them out from red or whatever color cardstock you want, and then just follow the shaping I do next. I'm going to come back, do one more thing on both of my colors. I just have to get some clean sponge daubers. And I like to do this to blend my colors. I'm just going to use some foam sponges. Either way it will work. I often will come in and just kind of blend them a little bit so the colors kind of blend together some. Doesn't show a lot, but you get some blending. You should probably do it right away after you not let them sit too long. But I'm good. I like the darker outside edges and stuff, so good with that. We'll do the green. So it doesn't matter which side I use. Now I'm going to come back on this. I want the edges a little bit darker. I don't know where my green sponge dauber went, so I'm going to use one more green color here. Don't know that it'll get a lot darker, but and you can keep adding color as much as you want or need to get those. But I'm going to leave it at that for now. The next thing I do, I've already got a bunch of paper. You can see it's pretty crumpled. I just flip them upside down. Excuse my reach. I'm taking, it's a Tim Holtz Mini Mister. Or Ranger, excuse me, I don't know if Tim Holtz came up with them, but I'm just misting the backs of my pieces. You should let these dry for a while. I'm going to move them off here a little bit. I'm going to work with them fairly wet, so we won't have quite the exact same thing. And you want them to curl, that's fine. That's perfectly fine. If you saturate them too much with water, you feel, what I do is, if you have paper towels or whatever, just take them, flip them over, and pat them down so they're somewhat dry. You don't want them to be pooled with water. You just want them basically damp so you can shape them. Coming in with a mouse pad. My cat, oh, it's upside down, my cat mouse pad. Pretty grungy right now because I try to use if it's inked colors on the back, but it will get dirty just from using it from all the ink. My flower shaping tools are McGill. I started out with just one. It is the Chatterbox, and I don't even know if they're still around. It has 2 different size ball ends. That's how I started doing mine. And I apologize, I forgot to mention my flowers. I never used more than more than 65-pound weight cardstock. I just used the cardstock from Walmart. I did them with 120-pound Nina cardstock. They're very, very difficult to shape. I didn't like the results as much. I don't know. They just are much stiffer, and I prefer, I don't work with that heavy cardstock anymore. So now, because these are smaller, I use the 6mm and sometimes the 5mm ball ends. I've got an 8 here. I use that on more on the medium and the large size, but the smaller the petals, the smaller the tip you want to use, because you'll get a much better texture and it'll just come together better. I'm going to start with the 5mm, and yeah, I'm in frame. I'm going to get these out of the way here. So again, working from the back side, if your paper is wet, be very careful. It will separate and it will tear easy. That's why I recommend letting them dry. Even overnight is fine. I've done that. But just to give you an idea, this may bump the camera some. I'm sorry I don't have the sturdiest of tables I'm working on, so I'll try to be careful. But I start at one tip and I just start pressing. I don't go in circular motions. Again, I just start pressing and then bring it all the way to the middle. Gonna go all over the petal. You want it to cup up like that, okay? So again, just pressing all over. I am sorry for my raspy voice. It's really bad this morning. Okay, and again, that's what you want it to do. You want them to curl up like that. And we will even make them curl more here in a minute. I don't know what, I love watching flowers come to life like that. I'm going to get my other 2 petals out of the way a moment. Okay, so then once they're done, I like to take the style, or the ball end, and in the middle of the petal, you can see it's cupped together, just come in the middle and press down, okay? I also, to get a deeper fold, I press, or deeper indentation, I will fold my mat in half and work on it. Now, I let that one sit for a while, and I do the same with the other 2 petals. The smaller the petal, the faster they work. The larger petals, they take some time because it doesn't seem like there's that much difference in size, but there really is. I was amazed. And again, it also helps if you use the larger stylus, or this larger shaping tool, but still. Now, the other thing I wanted to mention, I just lost my train of thought, I'm sorry. If you do not wet the paper before you do this, it will not hold its shape. It will for maybe a day or 2. It'll start to flatten out though. So that's why you like to wet in the paper. I haven't really noticed if I don't let them dry before I shape them versus shaping them wet. Or shape, if this one's pretty dry, but if those were a little wetter, I don't notice a difference in it holding its shape or it shaping in general. So if they're fairly wet when you do them versus fairly dry or all the way dry, yeah, I haven't noticed a big difference. So some people go in circular motions. Some people will just drag the tool down. I like to pounce, so to speak. So just a straight up and down motion. You will get a different effect on the petals, and some flowers, if you watch videos, it does call for that. So, and if they don't all cup up, you can keep working at them until they do. It's just how much dimension you want and how much you want to work at them. So, very simple. Can excuse my reach. Okay, so that one was cupped up. We'll come back and let that just sit for a little bit. Doesn't matter, but you want to kind of flatten them a little bit, so to speak. Flip them over. And then you're going to come in again and just, it takes me a lot. I have to use 2 hands. So I don't have a lot of strength in my hands. So here again, if you want them to cup up like this, okay? If you want them cupped up again more, then just do it like that. Use that second level. And I'll show you. They're going to flatten out a little bit once you assemble them. So you do want them quite cupped up like that. Again, we're just going to unfold this and try to be gentle with them, because I said the paper is fragile now because it's wet and it's been moistened, so you want to be careful. I'm still using my 5mm on this one. It seems to be the best size, so I'm getting the best results, I feel. Whoops, funky cat. Okay. And this is also how I do my greens for my different projects. Sometimes I cut them out of white. Sometimes I do greens in different colors. I ink the edges, and then I wet the backs, let them dry a little bit, and start shaping the backs, and then flip them over. And I think I did a tutorial on that before. Okay, so at this point we have our 3 pieces. I'm going to use art glitter glue. It dries the quickest for me. And this is also a good reason to make sure that your flowers are fairly dry. I apply glue to the back, just the center piece. You can put it on the inside here too, it doesn't matter. I kind of flatten this out a little bit so I can see what I'm working with, because you want to get your flower petals staggered. This may sound very easy, but it's not quite as easy as it looks, because they like to move around. Once I kind of have them where I want them, I make sure I'm back on my mat, and I press them down again with that shaping tool. I don't do the double yet. I will do that at the very end. Okay, and this time I'm going to put it in the center. It doesn't matter which way you do it. But again, this one seems to be the trickier one for me to get it staggered good and not move. I don't know. There's a lot of shaping going on there, so. Sometimes it helps me to do it this way and hold it a little bit, because those petals do like to move, so. Okay. That thing is in my way. And again, then I'm going to come back, punch it down. I'm going to get my mouse pad out of the way and bring my, excuse me, anyone seen a pin? Finally bought extras because I lose them a lot. There are multiple things. For the center, I would either use, I don't use the centers that come with this. I have a little rhinestone, not pearls, that's not what I want to use, but I have some pearls too, but I would just put that down in the middle. I think for this one I'm going to use a pearl, just because it's a little bit softer colors. Now, excuse my reach, again I'm looking for the correct glitter. There are different ways you can apply. If you can leave your flower like this, beautiful the way it is. I like to put glitter on my petals. Different things you can do. You can use stickles. You can use any kind of glitter that dries, or excuse me, any kind of glue that dries clear. You can put that on, shake loose glitter on it, let it dry. Done that, beautiful. I last year did some flowers with, and it will give you a lot of texture and it looks like snow on it. This is Recollections Tinsel Glitter. It's quite old. I'm not going to use it today because I like it on my bigger flowers. But once you put it on, don't panic. If you use glue that's white and dries clear, it will look awful for a while, literally. Until the glue dries, it will not look good. I just can't stress that enough. So what I do with my stickles, I just put a little bit, I just dab it on the edges of the leaves. You don't have to do the whole leaf because only the top leaves actually show. Come on, turn. And again, you can do this however you wish. This is just my normal way of doing it. I do sometimes put a little bit more on the top, the very top layer of leaves, just because they show a little bit more, but not necessary. Trying to find that one leaf that's not sticking out very much, that you can't see so much. Okay, that is, except for the centerpiece, my finished flower. If you can see that okay. But yeah, so now you can, if they were dry, I'm going to try to find, I don't have anything to pick it up with. I'll just use my fingers. But trying to be careful because of that stupid glitter glue. Even when they're dry, you can still poke them in the middle and shape them some more, and they'll shape up more. As they dry, they do flatten a little bit, but you can work with them. But that is my finished flower. Very, very simple to do. Again, it worked with, so I've seen people use like the ends of paintbrushes, anything that's got a little bit of a rounded edge. Trying to think if there's any other like carpenter tools. I'm not up on that anymore. Since my dad's not around anymore, I can't go raid his shop. Everything's kind of gone. So there might be something that way too, but lots of different colors and things variations you could do. So thank you all for joining me. I'll let you get back to what you were doing. Have an awesome day, everybody. Take care.